Right, so, a few interesting things happen this turn. One, the Americans are going to be forced to make a snap decision. And two, the Poles are going to get stuck in. The Americans are going to have to make a slight change of strategy to react to this. And the Poles are finally going to solve the problem of pinning the enemy down and run into a new problem, called they pinned the enemy down. Also, I believe that gent is out of 50 caliber ammunition. We should probably just bring him inside and start using these gentlemen as riflemen. Right then, on to the Poles in the woods. The Poles get right stuck in, and the men begin to wait for their little assaults to take place. Meanwhile, we start to take fire from over there, and these men begin their assault forward. The mortar team sets up, gets ready, stick their mortars down. Meanwhile, third section moves over here. They're caught off guard by a flanking force. I believe it's third section. First section gets caught off guard and goes ripped to shreds. There's very little hope for first section. And in fact, a few of them will surrender later on. Effectively, first section has been knocked out of 4th. Meanwhile, these troops assault the Poles. The MG-42 over here takes out 2 of the men of 1st Section 8 Attachment, who've already had a rough time trying to clear out this little court. The men stumble upon the Jerrys over here, and as this man is about to fire on them, they start taking fire from 2nd Section. They begin to trade fire at close quarters with the house. They suppress a rifleman. He throws a grenade, the Bren gun cuts him down. And spotting the machine gun, the assistant to the platoon leader cuts him down with a well-aimed spot of rifle fire. And meanwhile, or simultaneously, what is it? 2nd Section attempts to assault this holding. They rush across the street and storm the building, discovering the many dead Germans inside, on the top floor, on the bottom floor, all around. They begin to fire on him, distracting him just long enough to allow that section to move forward and engage. What they don't notice, though, is the man behind him with the MP40, firing into the house, until they've already passed. The combined weight of fire of 2 MP40s on them forces them to retreat out of the house. And as they run, miraculously, no one really gets hit yet. Well, they will. They start to run. They fire a few shots. Miraculously, just as they decide to run, the MP40 is forced to reload, giving them just enough of a fighting chance. However, it seems that the Germans have decided to start a main line of resistance here, 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 and here, precisely where we need to go to secure these houses. Though 3rd Section seems to be doing a textbook assault on this house, it remains to be seen whether or not the actual house itself is clear, and we may instead wind up moving onto this house and just holding the line here, until other things like a 2nd Section can possibly move forward. The mortar got hit. Who else? 4th Platoon Headquarters will probably have to move up this way. While, meanwhile, the light mortar attachment from, I believe, the 2nd Platoon is able to actually, keep some decent fire down over here. So, meanwhile, anyway, the Poles are having a hell of a time. They basically bumped into the main line of German resistance, and they are in dire need of some sort of reinforcements. Though I do believe we have tanks coming in like the next 1 or 2 minutes, so we may wind up shoving those down into the orchard and trying to push through here with Cromwell's. Meanwhile, on the other side of of Flambois, the Americans have managed to more or less secure their area, with cars are pulling back, inmates are pushing up, and in general we're just being real janky. I've been informed by my opponent, because we have a little chat going on the Few Good Men forums, that he's having trouble with sight lines, spotting my vehicles in this field and all that, because he knows they're there, because they're shooting at him and all that. And he's just letting me know that he is having a hard time engaging them. And so it may be a bit unfair to him, but at the same time, my vehicles are having a hell of a time spotting anything. And if you look closely, there's quite a bit of scrub brush in down there. And we've got German troops over there running around. We've just been spotted by the mortars. So those from far behind actually can sort of see into there, but there's not much can really be done by it. So there are troops moving up this way, despite the mortar fire, meaning it will behoove us to go sooner rather than later. Is that a gas pump? That's so cool. Sorry. I have so much more time to look at the textures. It would behoove us to move quickly to secure the Dive River crossing. So despite mild losses to sniper fire, which you will see here, as we advance forward, we start to take machine gun fire. From what looks to be a machine gun somewhere over there. So we'll need to find a way to suppress that house, I believe. We'll probably facilitate the crossing with machine gun fire from both trucks onto there and there. Trucks, jeeps. And when we rush the bridge, we may need to set up a base of fire along here. And we'll need to have that house under heavy suppressive fire from probably an M8. Most likely situated between those houses. So right about here-ish. And he'll just have to blast the crap out of that house. And hopefully they'll sit down. Meanwhile, as our troops try and advance, as always, as is customary, the sergeant gets shot. And we lose a Thompson. There's not much in the way we can do to stop here. And they do manage to more or less clear out the house. This is the one house where we suspect Germans to still be in, I believe. So it's imperative that we do clear out this house. There doesn't seem to be anyone in there, according to the 1st Platoon headquarters, who just charged in ahead of 3rd Squad. So we're probably going to move 3rd Squad. I'll probably have them bust their ass into the school, to be honest. And we'll try and move these squads down along this way, behind the cover of those trees. Instead of moving this way through what seems to be maybe not the most covered approach. We're just having a hell of a time with that place, though. This squad will reform in here. Luckily, having taken no casualties yet, I say knowing full well that now they're going to get slapped around like a 2-cent whore. Should be able to provide sufficient suppressive fire from up here on the 2nd floor. Though we may keep them on the 1st floor just to shield them from the rest of the town. But the main change to American strategy is that I'm going to try and have 1st Platoon initiate the crossing of the Dive River with intent to seize the Dive Bridge and the medieval church and establish a line like this with a small defensive contingent along here, maybe a squad, to be relieved by 2nd Platoon so as to facilitate both the crossing of the Dive River and to relieve the Poles who have just encountered that defensive line. My hope is that if we come here and are able to take the Dive Bridge, we'll be able to swing around the left flank here, hence the pocket extending this way, and move up and behind, avoiding the potentially heavier concentrations around the brothel and Fambois Center northeast, avoiding the eastern concentrations, which I suspect are quite large due to the presence of the infantry gun and such. And instead we'll try and cut the road right here and provide fire support to the Poles across this way. So our plan of attack will go something kind of like... Ooh, thank God. Thank god. Oh, yes! Alright. This new, this does beg a lot more questions now. Do we wait for the machine guns to get set up? Or do we try and cross now? Because we could wait for the machine guns. We could wait for the machine guns. Actually, I have an idea. I have an idea. One that I do not think the Germans will suspect due to the increased importance of this road. They may think that they can get through Framboise. I think that's how you pronounce it. They'll be safe. We'll try and set up an ambushing position and sweep in through the Germans' right. Alright, so the Americans will start to push the dive bridge. Meanwhile, 3rd Platoon, under the command of Corican, will strike from the eastern crossings over here to take this, which we know are more or less, I don't want to say undefended, but are probably less well defended. We'll assault up this way and try and take these houses so as to facilitate the confirmation of knocking out this gun position. And at that point, we will have them inside a nice little vice. If we can do it. Support weapons may set up a mortar support range here with the support weapon commander there. Machine guns deployed here and here to help the crossing. While the dive bridge will pretend it's our main focus, basically. We'll have to bullshit our way through this one. Oh, and the Poles get a 3rd rifle platoon, which will be great, because we're starting to need more rifles. These guys are honestly probably just going to go straight into a meat grinder. Because that seems to be the Polish lot in life right now. So, I hope you guys brought your knee-high socks, because it's about how deep the blood's going to flow. So we'll go ahead and have them move that way. This way. So that's all the Poles. They're just going to do a giant formation move. We'll get to them later. That's more or less just to get them into position. Those men are suppressing them. They're suppressing everyone. Actually, I know how to solve this problem. We'll move here. Target there for 30 seconds. Meanwhile, these gentlemen who've been ordered over here by themselves, maybe I should just bust a move over to there. Bust a move. You're already across, but you're not. I think you guys could chill the fuck out on the 1st floor. Meanwhile, you guys can run all you want to. You guys just need to hold there. These guys will probably... No, I want the bottom floor. Probably be able to actually suppress that area pretty well. We'll go ahead and clear that target and bump that up to another 15 seconds. Should be enough to hold the area. However, 1st section is stuck in the back, and the light mortars are coming in. Though this guy looks like he's moving to retake. Not retake. Re-equip, maybe? Grab the mortar and use it. I may even have the company headquarters file out and start shooting, just to keep the suppressive fire up. Mortar's doing God's work. And we'll try and get these guys up to there. And it all really depends on what these guys are shooting at now. What are you shooting at? Well, it looks like they're trying to shoot at the Poles assaulting right there. So we just need to get in through there real fast. So as long as these guys are able to bound forward real quick, should be a rather simple matter. Move up there, suppress that house. These gents, one of them's allowed to retreat back to there. That'll bring that leader back to goodness. Well, 2nd Section B detachment will probably be able to hold the line of their own accord. And, So that should work out well. Now to just give the orders. So 5th platoon's got their orders to move up to reinforce the Polish meat grinder. Well, we've got to set 1st platoon to crossing the dive bridge and bring 2nd platoon up to support them, probably around the school. And we have to give 3rd platoon their crossing orders for the east ford to take the eastern portion of Fambois so as to complete the vice and trap the Germans inside their nice, tasty little kessel. It's going to be like a stew, except made with Germans instead of brat. Well, I guess technically bratwurst is German, so it's a regular stew, except filled with people. It's like Soylent Green. So yeah, 2nd platoon, exhausted, I know, but also useful. So we're just gonna have them come down the side here. So they'll just need to find a way to make their way into the school. And that will be 2nd platoon's jumping off point. Yes, I know, it's rather grandiose orders, but this is what I mean by using logistical orders instead of tactical orders. Like 1st platoon's about to get a fuckload of tactical orders. They're tiny, they're short, they're they are meant that will exhaust them. They're meant to have a very specific effect, like I want you to move directly between these houses, which can be a problem when you want to give, you know, specific orders and you have trouble with that. Go ahead and pump a few shells into there. So go ahead and have them run in there. These guys will clear out that house, which will only take them like 30 seconds. No, I meant to go like that. And then I want them... Actually, from that location, can you suppress? No. After which I then want them to push down here. About there. From there, can you suppress there? Because if they can't suppress there, then they can't be suppressed. Oh. So they should set up right along here. Should give them a decent view line into there. Alright. So it looks like 3rd squad's going to be given the great honor of being allowed to charge across the road. Meanwhile, platoon leader will run over here. Platoon leader Beckman. I'm in charge of hanging out over there. So hopefully we'll distract them with the dive river. Meanwhile, 3rd platoon, in all their tightly packed glory, let's go ahead and set them up into a nice little crossing spread. So we'll cross probably 1 squad at a time. We'll go ahead and set them up over here. We'll have 2nd squad cross first, because they seem to be the most... Sorry, scout team. Your job is to tell me how that fort looks. Alright, 2nd squad. Get there. And 3rd squad will be over here. Alright, we'll bring the weapons platoon. God, battalion. That would be fucking insane. So, machine guns. You're an MG ammo bearer. Machine guns and their ammunition bearers. We'll move right here. And right here. probably... The key to this maneuver here will be surprise. So as we move up here, we'll want to set up the machine guns probably on the far bank of the river, somewhere around here. We'll probably also end up using the jeeps as a method of mobile fire support. Do you guys have a radio? They do have a radio. That's pretty nice. Alright, these guys might hang out back there and direct, what's it called? Machine gun fire. 4th platoon will move up there. And these mortars, are they in a nice spread already? I'm going to check the spread on the mortars. The mortars are in a decent enough spread. So we'll have them hang out over here. So it'll be a bit tight for that platoon, but that platoon's only hanging out there for a little while. We'll start firing just a little bit. 30-second bursts. This car will know to pull to right there. Or right there. Throw a smattering down. You guys dismount. Move quick to right about... Should move right here. Should move right here. I can order a mortar barrage on... Who can I order mortar barrage on? I'm gonna get you guys right here. You know what? You guys can probably just see something interesting. I bet you guys will see something interesting worth shooting. Meanwhile, the Pioneers, I found a job for them. The job is a very specific one. Once we clear out this row of houses, they're going to blow up this wall and facilitate our platoon moving around to the left flank. Most likely that will fall to whoever's least tired. So, possibly 1st platoon. Or is 1st platoon? 1st platoon? They seem to be doing alright. Possibly 2nd platoon, if we can find enough time for 2nd platoon to rest up while they're doing this. Hopefully 3rd platoon will be able to sneak around the back, because if they can do that, oh my god, it would be amazing. Let's see what we can do with the poles. I want to go back and make sure I've done everything that's possible with the poles. We've got the lieutenant over here. Lieutenant? I believe he's lieutenant. How are you for ammo? 26, firing for 2 minutes? Yeah, you're fine. I'm sure there's someone over there who needs to be shot anyway. He's got a pistol. He's not exactly the best. But we'll bring him up there and see if we can't rally them in. Meanwhile, I know that gent has a Panzerfaust. And while they're in here, if I can get them to face this way, shoot at that guy. If they all manage to crowd up around one of these walls, they face a lot less chance of getting shot by that guy. It's just 15 seconds of that. I'll try and find a way to deal with him. Actually, we've already found a way of dealing with him. We'll go ahead and clear your target. Your new target is that guy. Not the building, just... There we are. Tired, rattled, I don't blame them. But they've got the Bren gun, and the Bren gun is splendidly accurate at such short ranges, and at long ranges. Honestly, it's my favorite thing about the British is the Bren. Or the Commonwealth forces, I should say. It's the Polish. I guess they're technically part of the Commonwealth now. Makes sense. The Brits tend to like to assimilate people. And, we'll bring this gent up over here. And we'll just, we'll run a bit of a gauntlet and see if we can't get the 4th Platoon headquarters to just kill that guy. Because if we can just kill him right there, it'd be excellent. But I believe they might have some gents already set up over there, so that would actually be a rather unwise maneuver. Poles really, really just need to get the hell forward. Like, now. Because we're hitting this defensive line, there's not much in the way. It's a very perfect defensive line. If we could get set up along here, it'd be great. We got the 3rd Rifle Platoon. So, I'm guessing that's the 10-minute mark. So at 35 minutes, we get tanks. We need to secure the dive bridge to get those inmates across. If the Americans manage to succeed in a breakthrough, or manage to succeed in this, we might actually be able to sneak some inmates out through here and give the Poles a bit of a respite, just by a virtue of screaming inmates through here at flank speed. About probably just one or two, to be honest. Not all three of them. Because that would be bad. To lose all three of them, because we'll probably lose the M8, but it may facilitate just enough of a distraction to keep the Poles alright. Meanwhile, 3rd platoon over here. Don't exactly have the greatest of faith in the Poles, to be honest. Still, I suppose they've always gotten the job done before. And if that doesn't fail, we still have the Americans in 3rd platoon who can cut off Pbem center. Besides, the Poles only really have one objective, which is Pbem center. Makes sense that it should take them such a damn long time. Though I suspect the Germans will also be setting up a defensive line along here. We'll need to send scouts this way. I'm starting to think my best bet may actually be to break through on the right flank and sweep down this way, with that infantry squad clearing out this way. Because that might knock them just off kilter enough. 2nd squad will be deployed to whichever crossing presents the best opportunity for a breakout. So they'll be held in reserve at the school until either 1st platoon has secured a crossing over the dive bridge and has indeed found that there is very little enemy defenses over here, or if 3rd squad happens to bust across the river over here and encounters 0 resistance whatsoever up to... Well, let's set a point. Let's set an actual point. If they encounter 0 resistance and they are at the road itself, they will be committed. If neither of those two objectives are met, they can be committed at the commander's discretion, which is mine, or should be held in reserve. And they should be held in reserve until necessary. I don't believe it should take more than 1 platoon to facilitate a river crossing, though they could provide as a base of fire. That's their other use that they are allowed to have. I'm trying to keep myself from overcommitting troops. Well, not exactly the Russians. However, it'd be nice to have Russian strength right now, in numbers. Just, you know, line up half a company over here. The other company charges across the river. Just send a few tanks to scout. You know, like 8. Of course, the tanks are complete shite, so... Well, the crews are. The tanks are wonderful. And, Poles are basically playing Russians. But yeah, we'll try not to take the actual house, though, because I believe that they're setting up a line here, and charging into that as a single section would be bad. Also, I think our half-tracks are out of ammunition. 3rd section over here. Oh, that's right, I almost forgot about 3rd section. 3rd section can actually see what's going on. I totally forgot about 3rd section. 3rd section might actually be able to put enough fire on that. Well, they'll be able to put some fire on them. Anyway. If I really wanted to, I'd dismount this guy, set him up right here, and have him shoot like crazy. I think we're about to break this little nut right here. It's about to break. And when it breaks, I'm not sure if we'll have the manpower to actually take advantage of it. But if we do, we'll probably bring these guys up here, occupy the 2nd floor, and use that to try and force a flank. Or we could rush down this way, get to the 2nd floor here. Most advantageous position is probably 2nd floor here. It'll keep them from crossing the road. And we'll be able to hold them like that. So this entire force will be stuck there. Honestly, I do want to seize the vice over here, but I'm willing to have the Poles fight to stalemate. Because a stalemate still means I win, because the Germans have to escape. So at some point, the Germans will have to start pulling back. And as soon as they start trying to break contact, you know, it's just advance to contact, advance to maintain contact. And hopefully, if they spend too long in the stalemate, they'll pull back a little bit fast, a little bit unorganizedly. It looks like their main routes of escape are like down the main road or out past the castle. Which I guess you could technically go past the castle and around this way and that. But if I manage to get 3rd Squad down here, I'll know about it at least. And they can react speedily. If we manage to take this compound, well, hell, we'll have to go all the way through here. Which they could do, but if we take this little nut, which is what I'm going to call it because it's kind of a nut-shaped object. Like a little nut bolt. Should be able to close off this corridor, or at least their ability to go down it without letting us know. And with the addition of Cromwell tanks, which should be coming. I keep saying the Cromwells are coming, but they haven't come yet. If Cromwells do manage to come, we could rush the Cromwells down into this orchard, I say. Under the assumption that the American 3rd Squad is able to break through here and take out this weapons position, Cromwells can push down this orchard and seal off that route of escape, leaving only this road open. In other words, meaning the Poles have basically pushed far enough forward. We don't need a continuous line of defense across Vambois. We just need to be able to kill anything moving through it. So I think the goal here is to strike the enemy's rear, which in this case lies to the east. East? Yes, the east. Going with that's the rear, that's the front, and they're defending on the right and left flank. Because I imagine someone very pissed off is coming up the road from Trun. Huh. My goal is to get all these people to surrender by cutting off their one last hope of escape. Still, interesting battle. I've mused over this for too long. I've made all my orders, I believe. I'll check the Americans one last time. Doodle-doo-doo. Doodle-doo-doo. Doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah, the XO team, I guess they could move over here. And the Pioneer platoon and the Pioneers themselves. Actually, we'll need them to do stuff, so we'll move them through the school. Actually, is there a door there? No, there's not. They can hold right there. We're gonna shove so many people into that house. It's going to be way over. It's probably a fire safety hazard, to be honest, to have that many people in there. Alright, so good thing I double checked. 2nd platoon will swing into the town. Those guys will need to get in there soon, and I guess all of our reinforcements are going to facilitating a river crossing in the east. Hopefully the enemy doesn't expect it. They seem to have a defensive bowl going right now. Though I have no forces to Trun. But their forces are coming in to reinforce that way. Hopefully we can pin them off into splitting down left and right, and they won't think to go down center. Hopefully. Anyway, until next turn, I've been your Commander Tomato. This has been an interesting and thought-provoking turn. I've rather liked it. Especially with the Poles finally hitting resistance and no longer... The casualties are starting to mount to the Polish side, and the Americans are starting to take some mild attrition in warfare. To their NCOs. Yes, this is going to be a hell of a battle. Until then, gentlemen. Until then, good day.